Thank you and good morning, everyone. Believe it or not, we are less than a year away from the Republican gubernatorial primary, and we already have candidates that are out and about. We happen to have the fortune of having one of them here with us in the studio today, and we're talking with Jim Pillen. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Scott, nice to visit with you, and thank you for having me. I look forward to visit.
Making a swing through this part of the state, you've been making a tour in other parts of the state pretty much over the past 30 days or so.
We've been out. Our family discerned through this process, and we came to the conclusion this was an important thing to do back a couple weeks before Easter. So we've been on the campaign trail about 12 weeks. To win a statewide election, you have to build a grassroots team. That's what we intend to do, and it takes a year to do that. So, we're about 40 counties in, and we were having a blast meeting great Nebraska people.
Good to hear. Now, for people out here who don't necessarily know Jim Pillen, other than perhaps the glory days of wearing a Husker football uniform, kind of introduce Jim Pillen, the regent, the agribusinessman, the family man, and Nebraska native.
Yeah, thank you. I've spent my life in Nebraska. Grew up west of a little town called Platte Center, which is about 100 miles west of Omaha in Platte County. I grew up youngest of three boys. Grew up on a pig farm. My dad was a tenant farmer. My mom was a seamstress, and I had two dreams. One was to play football, and one was to be a veterinarian. So I was able to do those things, and I love people, and I love that biological component called a pig, and so we've been able to create a lot of opportunities and raise a fair number of pigs, and we've been in the genetics business, and we've been incredibly blessed, and it's all because of great people believing and great people in agriculture creating value around the state of Nebraska.
So what made you decide to throw your hat into the ring for the Republican gubernatorial nomination?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's been an incredible privilege to serve the citizens of Nebraska on the Board of Regents. Transformative education is a big thing. All Nebraskans love our university, so it's been a privilege to be a part of that governing and make a difference, keeping things on the right side of the flagpole. My dad taught me to be a giver, not a taker. In the last few years, my two oldest children have been back in our business for 12 and 15 years, and when you wake up as a father and you see your children are the best partners you've ever had in your life, that's a really cool thing. And we believe in giving back, and we believe in the future of Nebraska. And I just believe that all of our kids and all of our grandkids and future generations should have the opportunity to live dreams out like all of us have.
Well, looking at the information that's available on your website, jimpillen.com, that's clearly the case, that you see the potential for great things for the state. You also see some potential issues on the horizon, some of them hot button issues that we have out there today. One of them that I know that you've taken a stance on is the 30 by 30 plan with the Biden administration, as well as the Green New Deal. Certainly seems like your stance on that pretty much mirrors what we've been seeing from the current governor.
I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm a Christian conservative Republican. The views that I have, I believe in property rights. I don't, I'm from my background. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't get very excited about that. So I'm not terribly excited about federal government coming in and telling us what to do. In the state of Nebraska, we've had the most stringent environmental law since 1972 called Title 130. It protects our surface waters and our groundwaters. And Nebraska has 5 agroecological zones, and I can't remember the thousands of miles of streams, watersheds, and rivers. And in all those agroecological zones, it's a different way to manage, which we've been taught by the Moral Act of our extension education for 153 years. So we're incredible stewards of our land. And I couldn't be more proud of all families in agriculture for the last 153 years and the last 50 years with Title 130. We don't need the federal government telling us what to do.
I certainly understand that stance. And again, we've heard that quite a bit. You talk about property rights. You've had a number of endorsements that have come out in your favor, one of them being former Congressman and Husker football coach and legend Tom Osborne, as well as former Governor Kay Orr, a number of state senators, Dan Hughes, Suzanne
Yes.
Geist, Luann Linehan. And she came out and talked a little bit about property rights, property taxes specifically, and saying that you would have the ideas to produce a long-lasting solution to this decades-long issue of property tax relief and the issue that's been facing property owners throughout the state. Can you give us any specifics on what you see as the path forward?
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is that I believe we have to have a transformative path. We can't pick around the edges and eat around the corners. We've got to all come together. So I think the biggest solution is all of us got to come together with our ideas and come with a collaborative mindset and be a Nebraska team. And let's not worry about whose idea it is, who's going to get credit. Let's solve it. Because the bottom is, from east to west, the one thing everybody's got to realize is our tax situation is not competitive, and it's not equitable, and it's not fair. And we're losing people, and Nebraska has to grow. It has to grow now. If we miss out in the next 10 years, it's not going to be an awesome place for our grandkids to live their dreams out like it's been for us. We have to get it fixed. That's the first step, is getting everybody together to agree we got to get it fixed, and then let's come with some solutions. Have ideas. Biggest, we got to continue to stop spending. Governor Ricketts walked into a scenario where there was way too much spending previously. It's trimmed. If I'm your governor, I'll trim it more. We have to have government do more with less, like all the rest of us have been doing in business for generations. That's the first step. The second is we got to improve the accountability and the efficiency of government, and then we just have to change the format because our property taxes are a problem. We are not competitive. It pains me when I listen to families that talk about we're going to sell our ranch and move to Wyoming or move to South Dakota because their taxes are so much more friendly and how uncompetitive. We have to solve it. It has to be solved now.
Is it going to have to be a wholesale change? Like there's been talk of the consumption tax, things such as that are out there.
I think there has to be transformation. I think there has to be transformative thought. I think that we're probably going to have to be taking a look at some sales tax exemptions that went away because it was a politically correct thing for somebody to do. Wasn't leadership. We've got to get our taxes balanced. When we look at our property tax, income-based assessment really can make a lot of sense if we average it over 5 or 7 years, because all of us have land that's not great value, but all of a sudden we wake up and we're paying property taxes that are more than what the land can cover. Mm-hmm. So it makes no sense where we're at today.
We'll turn a little bit to a couple other issues real briefly. Hot topics these days. Both of them dealing with education for the most part. We've got education standards that the Department of Education is working on right now, specifically health standards that have drawn quite a bit of criticism for what was proposed as far as sex education, especially the age that was proposed in the draft. There's also some talk, at least Governor Ricketts has come out against use of critical race theory in the schools, not only on the local level, but I'm assuming throughout the university and even through state government. What's your stance on both of those issues going forward?
Suzanne and I have 4 children, and our youngest son's a junior in high school. We have 7 grandbabies. We've gone to great lengths to protect our children from things that are not the values of what we believe in. So the Nebraskans can't be duped by this guise of health standards, of education health standards that are talking about sex education that is not, no young person has the adolescent mind to even conceive it. And those are things that take place at home. They are not the job of our teachers to do. Totally opposed. It's not appropriate. Same thing when we're talking about radical ideologies and theories that somebody has an idea and a belief in, my children and my grandchildren's adolescent minds, I'm going to go to every length under the sun that they're protected against it. It's not acceptable.
So moving forward, it certainly sounds like you've got your path cut out for you moving forward in this race for the gubernatorial nomination. We've got another candidate, Charles Herbster, out there who's been quite close with former President Donald Trump, but you also support many of those very same standards that Trump stood for during his 4 years in office.
I voted for President Trump both times. Spent my life in agriculture. I understand. We in Nebraska in agriculture, we can compete. We are the best at raising cattle, raising pork. We are the best of anybody in the world. We raise more than we can consume. We need international markets, but we don't need China at all costs. So I've been a supporter of the tariffs. It cost us a lot short term, but again, I'm in this for the long haul for my grandbabies. So if I am your governor, I will work my tail off to help develop extraordinary, more international markets, because we can feed the world. We just have to do it with countries where we have balanced trade and it's fair and free trade.
I'm sure we could sit here and talk for half an hour or two about a whole bunch of different things. Unfortunately, we're a little time constrained. What can we expect from Jim Pillen with the campaign moving forward as we get into the summer, into the fall, winter, and into the real heavy campaigning season for next spring?
Yeah, I think Nebraskans can expect to see the same thing that we've been doing for the last 12 weeks. We're going to focus on ourselves, and we're going to focus on meeting Nebraskans and engaging and making sure they know who Jim Pillen is and what he believes in. Jim Pillen's a pig farmer, veterinarian, spent his life in agriculture, doesn't have a political bone in his body, believes in leadership, and believes that business can solve a lot of our problems as the key to leading our state to great times in the future.
And of course, you can find out more about Mr. Pillen and his stance on multiple different things, as well as his campaign, by going to jimpillen.com. Jim, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great day.